Mars is our main neighbor in the solar system. Soon it will accept the first earthlings, but in the meantime, it continues to amaze scientists with its mysteries and riddles. Thanks to the photos, we can also get acquainted with the red planet closer. This is Infinity, and in this episode, I'll show you the new images from Mars that'll change the history of space, as well as tell you about the most interesting Martian discoveries and finds. A photo that could change history. While exploring the red planet, experts recorded several strange natural shapes, among which polygons particularly stood out. Geometric shapes with at least 3 straight sides and 5 or more angles have been recorded in several different Martian landscapes. These shapes are of strong interest to scientists and may change the entire history of space, as they often indicate the presence of shallow ice or that water once existed in these areas. In the Martian Arctic region, for example, the Phoenix lander recorded various polygonal shapes that were created by the temporary expansion and contraction of underground ice. A camera aboard the spacecraft revealed large polygonal ridges and networks of giant polygonal depressions created by the evaporation of ancient lakes. Remarkably, however, the spacecraft also saw these strange shapes in dry, dusty sand dunes. The polygons are formed by intersecting ridges of sand dunes. If this deposit had hardened and undergone erosion, we would not have been able to figure out that they originated as wind-blown dunes and would have interpreted the polygons as evidence of a dried-up lake, the scientists said. The team claims the dune field is about 1 kilometer across. Could there be a connection between these bizarrely shaped dunes and water? These types of dunes often accumulate at the bottom of craters, which is also a favorable location for a temporary or ancient lake. Does this mean that life is possible on Mars? There's no definite answer to this question. Not yet. Data from spacecraft suggests that in the distant past, Mars had a full-fledged hydrosphere. There were streams of water flowing across its surface, and there were lakes and seas. But as the climate changed, almost the entire hydrosphere was lost. The remnants of Martian water are now concentrated in the polar caps, as well as in the surface layer of permafrost, tens or hundreds of meters thick. According to modern estimates, if this ice were melted, the surface of Mars would be covered with a layer of water several tens of meters thick. We've long known that the surface of Mars is unfit for life as we know it, so in our search for life, we've switched to the upper layers of the ground. There we can find sufficient protection from harmful radiation, and pressure and temperature rise to more acceptable levels. But most importantly, it's under these conditions that water, the basis of life, can exist in a liquid state. Look for water. This is the basic principle of astrobiology, the science that studies the possibility of life outside Earth. Thus, the new discovery suggests with great probability the presence of water. We are no closer to discovering life as such, but this discovery tells us exactly where to look for it on Mars. It's like a treasure map, only in this case there may be quite a few crosses on it, Patel says. The Labyrinth of Night. The Labyrinth of Night is the largest labyrinth on Mars. This complex of intersecting canyons stretches for 1,200 kilometers. They can be several kilometers deep, and most of their bottoms are covered with sand and dust brought by Martian winds. The probable cause of these canyons is tectonic activity of young Mars. Similar landscapes can be seen on Earth, though on a much smaller scale, where they result from the deposition of fine-grained sediments in the ocean. Probably in ancient times, the place of the modern labyrinth was the bottom of a large body of water, or a geological formation appeared as a result of a major deluge. According to scientists, the main role in the fact that the labyrinth took its present form was due to water ice, which, as it froze, expanded and thus deformed the rocks around it. By the way, the atmosphere of Mars is 95% carbon dioxide. Martian sunrises and sunsets are the exact opposite of Earth's. Because of the dust scattered in the planet's atmosphere, they're colored blue. Would you like to walk in the canyons of Mars, or maybe even go as part of a Mars resettlement mission? If so, write about it in the comments. And stay tuned to see even more unusual finds and discoveries related to the red planet. Insects on Mars. Entomologist William Ramusser from Ohio University discovered structures that resemble insects in images taken by the Mars rover Curiosity. He immediately sent his observation to the scientific journal Science Alert. In the letter, he stated that he's convinced that Mars is a habitable planet, and on it you can see analogs of terrestrial arthropods, which have a similar body structure as on Earth. They have wings, shells, antenna-like analyzers, and their bodies are segmented and symmetrical. Ramser conducted a careful analysis of the photographs. Because of this, he was able to spot the strange creatures that were in the background of the Martian landscape. The insects seemed to adopt poses that resembled those adopted by Earth bugs. Martian blueberries. In 2012, NASA's Mars rover Opportunity captured a surprising phenomenon on the surface of Mars. The rover explored an area on the Meridian Plateau, where it discovered a strange find. While examining the images, scientists said there were gray pebbles right in the sand that resembled blueberries inside a muffin. These spheres were no more than 3 millimeters in diameter, so the spherical structures were nicknamed blueberries. This was one of the most unusual photographs of the entire mission. The stones appear brittle on the outside and soft in the middle. They vary in concentration, in structure, and in composition. "We have a remarkable geological mystery in front of us," said Stephen Squires, lead scientist on the science team. Scientists have proposed a number of theories to explain the countless gray-blue spherical pebbles on Mars. One hypothesis suggests that magma from volcanic eruptions form these orbs. Scientists at the University of Hawaii believe that the best way to explain the shape and composition of the Martian blueberries is the meteorite hypothesis. Other scientists even suggest that such stones are living organisms, like mushrooms, which can multiply thanks to the analog of the fungus in the soil. It's still unknown who of them is right, but one thing is certain: it's definitely not worth tasting such blueberries. For no region of Mars has there been as much controversy in searching for answers as the region of Cydonia. Located in the northern hemisphere, it's known for its many intriguing surface formations. The most famous of these is the Face on Mars, which has attracted a great deal of public attention in recent decades. Cydonia was first photographed on July 25, 1976 by NASA's Viking 1 orbiter. A total of 18 images of the region were taken at the time, but due to the low resolution, only 5 of them were considered suitable for studying the planet's surface features. Vincent DiPietro and Gregory Molinar, 2 software engineers at NASA's Space Flight Center, independently discovered the face image while studying the archives. Beginning in 1982, the images sparked conversations that there may have been a civilization on the red planet. In addition, scientists noticed several mountains nearby that had shapes resembling those of pyramids. One in particular, which was 500 meters high, had an interesting geometric shape. Richard Hoagland, a famous UFOologist, called it D&M Pyramid. Also north of Face on Mars is a region that's been named the City because of the supposed location of a series of monuments on it. They're basically pyramids arranged around a rocky formation called City Square. By studying the topography and mineral composition of the northern regions of Mars, scientists have found evidence of thousands of supereruptions, which are the most powerful known volcanic events. Some volcanoes can cause eruptions so powerful that they spew oceans of dust and toxic gases into the air, blocking out sunlight and changing the planet's climate for decades. The largest volcanoes in the solar system are located on the red planet. They're located in the region of Tharsis, a huge volcanic highlands with a total area of 30 million square kilometers. That's comparable with the area of Africa. The massive volcanic deposits in Tharsis is so large that, according to scientists' calculations, it could have caused a shift in the planet's axis of rotation. Each of these eruptions had a significant effect on the climate. Perhaps the released gas made the atmosphere denser or shut down the sun and made the atmosphere colder. 7 huge depressions in one area of Mars were the first evidence that the planet may have had volcanoes capable of supereruptions. It used to be thought that these were depressions left by asteroid impacts on the surface of Mars billions of years ago. But researchers noticed that the formations were not perfectly round like craters, and they had some signs of collapse, a very deep bottom and protrusions of rock near the walls. Later, scientists decided to look at other craters. Until now, the youngest on Mars were considered traces of volcanic activity about 2.5 million years old. Now, scientists have found a much younger geological structure. The dark spot is symmetrically located on both sides of a fault in the soil. Experts are inclined to believe that this structure is composed of ash and lava, which is poured out of the fissure during the eruption. According to experts, the ash column could rise to a height of 10 kilometers. In total, the volcano threw out about 10 million cubic meters of substance. The most interesting thing is the age of these traces of the eruption. Judging by the number of meteorite craters, they're from 50 to 200,000 years old. The Man from Mars. In 2016, NASA's Mars rover Opportunity took an unusual picture on the surface of Mars. The footage showed an unknown object that resembled a human being. The rover was able to find and fix a mummy in the picture, which is very similar to a human figure. When the rover transmitted the photo to Earth, several people at once noticed that in the picture, you can really make out a certain object which is very similar to the human silhouette. Conspiracy theorists and internet users have expressed several versions of what it could be. Some are convinced that once the red planet was inhabited by creatures that resembled modern humans in appearance. Others believe that the image shows the body of an unknown creature. That's all, guys. Which Martian find surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.